2021, which will be our last regular session for the year. So at this time, I'll call this meeting to order. Agenda item number 2 is the attendance roll call.
Peterson.
Here.
Swager.
Here.
Alvidrez.
Present.
Setzer.
Present.
Sanchez.
Here.
Hoffman. Here. Mr. Petty.
Here.
Mr. Denham.
Present.
Agenda item number 3 is approval of the consent agenda.
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda item 3.
Do what? Oh, I'm sorry. I just got on a roll. We've already met once. Let's take a break before we do the consent agenda. How about that? If you'd rise with me, I'd like to welcome Pastor Tyler Arens from the Trinity Lutheran Church. If you'd come up to the podium and bless this mess.
Let us pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for giving us the opportunities to gather together as councils to discuss matters of importance in any type of situations, Lord. Please be with us tonight in this council meeting to discuss the matters of importance for this town of Guymon. May our discussion lead to sound resolutions that will serve for the betterment of this town. Please be with it. May all that we discuss be to glorify you. All this we ask in your Son's name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Swagger, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Pastor, sorry about that. We did meet earlier, so we're kind of...
We wasn't trying to. It was their fault. Okay. Agenda item number 3 is approval of the consent agenda.
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda item 3.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second.
Setzer.
Aye.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Alvidrez.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 4 is discussion and action to approve resolution number 21-16. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Guymon, Oklahoma, instead establishing an investment policy for the City of Guymon.
This is just a annual resolution we do that allows the city clerk or the city treasurer and the city manager to make investments on behalf of the City of Guymon. It's the same thing we've done every year.
I make a motion we approve resolution number 21-16.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Sanchez. Aye. Setzer.
Aye.
Alvidrez.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 5 is discussion and possible action on resolution number 21-17, a resolution authorizing conveyance of real property to the state of Oklahoma for the Oklahoma Highway Patrol Troop 1 headquarters. And
It's Troop I.
Troop I, that's right, I knew that. It's only the second mistake I've made tonight.
Okay, well, Mr. Petty and I believe Mr. Claro is here tonight on behalf of OHP in the state of Oklahoma. This was actually approved at the last city council meeting, the conveyance of this property. Inadvertently, we left the resolution off, and I think there were some typographical errors that needed to be corrected in the conveyance that we signed last month. And that's the purpose of this resolution, is to wrap that conveyance of that property up, giving that to the state of Oklahoma for the Oklahoma Highway Patrol Troop I headquarters.
Okay. Any other thing? Anybody got anything else? We're good?
I make a motion that we approve resolution number 21-17, resolution authorizing conveyance, real property of the state of Oklahoma for Oklahoma Highway Patrol Troop I headquarters item 5.
Second that.
Have a motion and a second.
Swager.
Aye.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Setzer.
Aye.
Alvidrez.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 6, discussion and possible action on resolution number 21-18, a fiscal year 2021 budget amendment in the amount of $39,117 for the ODL grants, insurance proceeds, and donations.
As we wrap up our 2021 budget year, we have been going through the funds to see where adjustments needed to be made. And there are several items, well, the next several resolutions all relate back to this. And there was some monies received for the library fund that needed to be budgeted for expenditures. And that's the purpose of this resolution.
I make a motion that we approve Resolution 21-18 for fiscal year 2021 budget amendment in the amount of $39,117 for ODL grants, insurance proceeds, and donations, item 6.
Second that.
Have a motion and a second.
Setzer?
Aye.
Swager?
Aye.
Alvedras?
Aye.
Sanchez? Aye. Peterson?
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 7 is discussion and possible action on resolution number 21-19, the fiscal year 2021 budget amendment in the amount of $43,010 for donations and memorials.
Okay, wash, rinse, and repeat. This is end of the year budget adjustment for the next one. For the
Next one.
20, or no, 18 is what we need. 19 is what we need.
21-19.
19. That one is for the addition of some donations and memorials that were received that need to be budgeted for expenditures in the industrial, the Guymon Industrial Fund.
No, that's for 21-19, so donations and memorials, item 7, right?
Yes.
It's house cleaning.
Yeah, housekeeping.
Make a motion that we approve Resolution 21-19, item 7.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Sanchez? Aye. Swager?
Aye.
Alvedras?
Aye.
Setzer?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 8 is discussion and possible action on resolution number 21-20, the fiscal year 2021 budget amendment to the Guymon Industrial Authority Fund in the amount of $336,862. That's big money.
That's a lot of money.
That is our industrial authority, and all this money relates back to TIF money that we received. We have dispersed those funds, and that were required to be dispersed by the TIF district, and this is just the recording, because at the beginning of the 2021 budget year, we weren't exactly sure how much money we were going to receive. And then now we know, and so we've budgeted for that money, and that money has been dispersed as per the TIF agreement. So this will just record the revenues that we received.
Just a pass-through.
We get to
Yes.
smell it as it
Yeah.
goes by.
I did talk with Mr. Petty and Jeff Saban about this, and Mr. Saban did recommend that this is the appropriate way to handle that as a budget adjustment.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 21-20, a fiscal 2021 budget amendment to the Guymon Industrial Authority Fund in the amount of $1,336,862 for monies received from Texas County.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Setzer?
Aye.
Sanchez? Aye. Swager?
Aye.
Alvedras?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 9 is discussion and possible action on resolution number 21-21, a fiscal year 2021 budget amendment in the amount of $37 to close the library construction fund.
Okay, we go from 1.3 million to $37.
Story of my life.
The books have to be right.
What this is the library construction fund hasn't seen activity in a number of years. We've got $37 that's sitting in that account. After discussions with the city auditor, it was recommended that we make a budget adjustment to transfer that money out into the general fund and close the library construction fund. And that's what this resolution does.
Make a motion that we approve resolution number 21-21, item 9, for $37.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second.
Swager.
Aye.
Setzer.
I don't know. Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Sanchez. Aye. Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 10 is discussion and possible action on resolution number 21-22, the fiscal year 2021 budget amendment in the amount of $2,913,000. Wait, I get to go back. Wait, I got used to saying those big numbers there. $2,913. Sorry, Josh. To close the E911 fund.
This is the same type of thing as what the library construction fund is. All the monies have been transferred over to E911 fund that would do them. This is money that was put into the fund by the general fund, and that subsequently needs to be reimbursed back to the general fund. And then then this fund also will be closed out.
Okay. I make a motion that we accept the resolution number 2122 for fiscal year 2021 budget amendment in the amount of $2,913 to close the E911 grant fund.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Sanchez. Aye. Swager.
Aye.
Setzer.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 11 is discussion and action to approve and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement between the City of Guymon and the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge Number 125 for the calendar year 2022. Mr. Dunham.
Okay, we have worked since September to come up with an agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police. We have been able to successfully negotiate a contract. There are very few changes to this contract from last year. The main change being wording changes from where it might have read Employees Manual to SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. And those are the only changes for this contract. I recommend it pass and authorize the mayor to sign.
I make a motion that we authorize mayor to sign the agreement between the City of Guymon and Fraternal Order Police Lodge Number 125, calendar year 2022, item 11.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second.
Setzer.
Aye.
Sanchez. Aye. Alvedras.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 12 is discussion and action to approve and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement between the City of Guymon and the International Association of Firefighters, Lodge Number 4256, for the calendar year 2022.
Same thing. We've been working with the fire union since about September, October, to negotiate a new contract. There are very few changes to this contract also, with the major change being the separation of vacation and holiday pay. What had been what the practice had been was to let firefighters accrue their vacation and their holiday and as one lump sum. This breaks that out. Firefighters will be able to accrue their vacation time, but we will pay the holidays as we go along. So if, for example, if a fireman is off for the holiday, he'll get a holiday pay. If he works the holiday, he will get his work pay plus the holiday pay. And that way there's no need for an accrual.
Make a motion that we authorize the mayor to sign agreement between City of Guymon and International Association of Firefighters Lodge Number 4256, calendar year 2022, item 12.
Second that.
Have a motion and a second.
Setzer.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 13 is discussion and possible action on the City of Guymon paid time off policy.
This is a change to our current policy, and the reason for the change request is that currently what happens, and Vicki, you can correct me if I misspeak here, so you may want to come up to the podium, is that if the way we currently operate is that on January 1, we accrue a lump sum of total hours for employees for PTO. And what we're asking to do is to change that so that they accrue as throughout the year. The reason for this change is that it puts the city kind of in a bad spot if, for example, an employee who's been here for 2 years accrues 22 days of holiday or vacation and PTO time at January 1, and then February 1 separates service. We would owe for that entire 22 days. This separates that out, and the employee accrues that at the appropriate rate per pay period, so that gives a little bit of leeway to the city on what they're actually liable for at the separation of service. The other thing that it does is that it increases. Right now, we only have a carryover of 80 hours. So, and it kind of puts an employee in a bind if toward the end of the year, like we are now, if they've got more than 80 hours of PTO still left in their bank, they would only be able to carry over 80 hours without possibly losing some. This does increase the hours of carryover to 240 hours. And where that could cause a problem for long-term employees that are, what's the top end accrual? What year is that, Vicki? 22 years. If they've been here over 22 years, they're accruing 240 hours a year, so or 250 hours a year. So it might put those guys in a little bit of a predicament if they don't take any vacation or PTO time, but it does encourage employees to take that time off, which they most definitely earn and deserve. Those would be the two changes that we're asking for in the PTO. Is that right, Vicki? Okay.
Well, first, isn't it kind of up to the employee to figure out to take time off and not wait till the end of the year?
We do allow it is the employee's obligation to figure out that time, but over the last couple of years, it's been very problematic with shortage of employees and trying to get employees hired in that they aren't trained well enough to be left on their own by a seasoned employee. It kind of puts those seasoned employees in a bind with, for example, Tracy's got hours that he needs to take, but he hasn't been able to take time off because of the inexperience of his staff that we've had to hire in recently. And it kind of gives a correction measure for that.
Now, what change did we make when Mr. Wagner was here as far as the carryover? Remember, we were getting stuck with people having gobs amount of...
I think Vicki could answer
Unfunded
that.
liability.
Yeah.
Well, 240 hours is 30 days of an 8-hour
What's that?
Do you remember that change we made?
That's our
Vicki?
top, in the top employees.
When we went from accruing sick and vacation to PTO, then everybody got their hours for the year in a lump sum at the beginning of the year. And what changed with that is that we were just allowed to carry over 80 hours into the next year. So come December, everybody's cramming, trying to use all of their PTO time.
But when Mr. Wagner was here, we changed the carryover to the 80.
When we came off of IBTS and came back to the city, we were accruing sick and vacation. The city was also accruing sick and vacation, and all of that changed to PTO
Right.
at that time in 2019,
But how much carryover did we allow back then?
80.
But it's not, it's PTO now across the
Right.
board instead of
Yeah.
splitting it up, sick and vacation.
Instead of having 2 different banks now, you've only
Yeah.
got one bank.
Yeah, and that's what we went to under Mr. Wagner.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And that doesn't change, it just, the PTO policy doesn't, we've modified it a little bit in the way that it accrues and the amount that the amount that can be carried over, but we don't, we haven't changed, we're not asking to change from PTO to sick and vacation.
As
I
of
just-
right now, every non-union employee, their time is going to accrue per pay period instead of getting it in a lump sum.
Right.
So they have to, again, kind of monitor their time off so that they have the time when they want to take a vacation or be off or anything.
I'd like to hear from some department heads if you think that, or you foresee any issues with people having to take off in December and them being more than one, and then like everybody has to take off in December. Do you think you would
Thank you,
have that
Mrs.
type of
Wilson.
issue?
This is just my personal opinion, okay? So, it's just like Joe Don said, the issue we have with it, so those people that's been here for a long time, we gather a lot of time, right? So, we might have other duties, meetings, meet with contractors, do this or that. So, there might be 3 or 4 of us here that's been here for a long time that we're going, hey, when can you take off? Because you need to take off. But you get towards the end of the year, like I got 19 days right now. So, I got 5 days to use those 19 up. I'm gonna carry 10 over, so I'll lose 9. My fault. I can't take off because I gotta be here. I like this option because before we did accrue, so you was allowed 30 days. You carried 30 days over. You didn't accrue no more. You had to take down below that. Then you started accruing again. Okay, so I don't see a problem with it. I like this better because we've had people that say, okay, here's your 22 days. So they use them 22 days up within the first 6 months, and then the 7th month they quit. They didn't earn that. That's for a year, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So this is a better option, I think. I mean, I don't know what anybody else thinks, so. They didn't do it the way I wanted to anyway, so.
Thank you for your opinion.
Is that what you wanted to know?
Yes, yes.
I mean, it is up to us to manage our own time. It is up to us. So if we lose, that's our choice, right?
Well, not if you can't take it off because there's staff that
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
They
just part
can't-
of the job, though, I think.
they can't fill in and you can't, so that's not on you.
No, and I want everybody to be able to take their time off. I believe they earn vacation or PTO, what we're calling it now. I believe that's earned. Sick leave was giving to us. I believe vacation is earned through the year, but still, Sergio, it's a job.
Understood,
And I'm thankful to have this job.
understood. Thank you,
It's
sir.
done me everything I've ever wanted in my life, so I appreciate the city of Guymon for doing that for me.
Well, we appreciate
And
you.
they've let me work here, believe it or not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys need to make this better for short people. I'm going to go ahead with the flip side of this from the library's position. We have not had a problem with having people with too many days that they can't carry over, because I imparted to them at the beginning, this is how many days you can carry over. If you need to take a day off someplace to fit into that, then you need to take a day off someplace to fit into that. And we don't have anybody in my department who has too many hours that they can't carry over. Because I got across to them as a department head, I need to have my time off, you guys need to have your time off, let's work together. And I know that, Tracy, your situation is different because you've had to hire people in. But I can tell you right now, having spoken to some of my staff members, I've got one person right now with no PTO left over. And I know she's gonna have to use some right at the beginning. And she has nothing. And she was looking forward to having that lump sum so that she could go to doctor's appointments, take her child to doctor's appointments, work on a house that they're purchasing right now. So if you take this away from them, you're going to have some very unhappy people, and not just in my department. I don't know what the other answer is to it. I don't know if, and like I said, Vicki would probably know more than I would about this, but you asked for our opinion. I don't know if it could be prorated for somebody who would leave in February, but I can tell you right now, you're going to have a lot of very upset employees. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
I guess my question would be, Joe Don, so we've been saying every employee gets 22 at the start of the year, or whatever.
Well, whatever there is, yeah,
Okay.
I use that, yeah.
But basically, you're not taking it away from them. You're prorating every month they work, they get prorated that many.
Like for the employees that are the 0 to 2 years that get those 22 days, then, or 22 hours, is it days or hours? Days. That is accrued at, what, 6.77?
Yes.
Per pay period. So every pay period, they get 6.77.
So they're getting it, but it's just a different way of accruing.
Yeah.
Instead of lump sum, they're gonna,
Instead of a lump sum, they're getting it throughout the year. Now, if an employee has, it could be problematic for an employee that has used everything they had up until now and was planning on that to, you got, after the first pay period, they'll earn 6.77 hours. And once, that could be problematic for some of them. I'll agree. If they've used up everything up until now.
well, it actually should be problematically for most employees. I would think most employees have used their vacation time. Right?
We would encourage employees to, but we have to realize this isn't strictly vacation time.
Right.
This is time that they use for sick leave also.
Right.
So with the PTO, I would expect employees to not use everything, if at all possible, because they need, what happens if
Right.
I have a major illness? So it does allow for a little accumulation of that.
How long has this been evaluated, Joe Don? Has this plan been evaluated?
Well, we've been on PTO since, before I got here.
Right.
2019 is when it started, January of 2019.
Yeah.
Is when the PTO program started, or PTO leave plan started.
Right.
On the rollover, it's just a rollover one time. After that, it's accrued, and it just keeps going until you've accrued 240 hours.
Right.
And then, once you've used some of your time, it won't accrue anymore until you've used time. And then it'll start accruing again. But the rollover is just the one time.
Understood. What would a better scenario be to give employees a heads up, say this is what's gonna happen next year? Is that a better solution?
Or, I have a question, or maybe a solution. Will employees be allowed to go into the negative?
We have not in the past.
Okay.
I'm not saying that we can't, we've just watched it and tried to not let somebody go negative.
Right.
And it's not like, we, in all honesty, we do take care of our employees. So if an employee gets into a bind and has some time off, has to take some time off, then we do work with them. Because we don't want anybody to not have a paycheck or something, so we do work with them. But we felt like this was a way for us to get started back into the accrual where we are accruing. We've got to start someplace.
Which long-term, it's better for the employee because they're accruing
Yes.
instead of gaining? Or how, I mean.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Because they're accruing,
Yes.
right? And the rollover only happens one time. I think that's where
Yes, from, say if this is passed and it starts January 1, then the rollover would happen at the end of this year for one time. And then after that, it starts accruing, and it accrues and every pay period until they've reached 240 hours. It's
And
not
for-
designed for anybody to lose any time.
right.
But at the same time, we need it available when possible, right? So like going into the negative at the beginning of the year, for instance, one of the library employees, if she needed to take 2 days off at the beginning of the year, well, she knows she's gonna go into the negative 16 hours. Is that gonna be an option? Is it gonna be okay, is what my question would be. And we might know, yes, she's a solid employee, she's been with our city for 3 years or whatever, and we know it's gonna come back. Would that be an option?
I don't know why it couldn't be an option. It wasn't something that we thought of, but I don't know why it couldn't be an option to allow them to go into a negative up to
A certain amount?
up to a level that would be comfortable. Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't want an employee to get 22 hours.
You get a year of trial and error, right? If this gets implemented, after going into 2022, all the employees are gonna know what's in effect now.
Correct.
You won't have the same problem next year in December.
I
If
wouldn't-
that employee is up to date.
That's correct. I wouldn't think so. The problem with going into the negative with that is that they've got to make that up. So then
Right.
then they won't have anything available until they
Next
do
pay
get
period.
to zero and start accruing again. So
Yeah.
we would have to really monitor that and not let somebody get into such a bind.
Well, maybe if we give them like the option of saying, okay, you can only go into a negative of a week's pay. Because if you happen to, quit.
Well, see, right there, I
whatever.
think it needs to be written in policy, or the
Yeah.
company, or
Would it maybe-
the
Yeah.
city would be in trouble.
Would it
Yeah.
maybe not be and there's going to be people that need to go into the negative due to family illnesses,
Right, right.
whatever. But
Well,
maybe
that won't be a problem next year in December, because everybody will know what's in effect. It's only a problem this
But
year.
maybe in the policy that ought to be addressed, the fact that could be at the discretion of the city manager. In other words,
It'd
Yeah,
probably be,
that could-
somebody needs to
it'd probably be
approve the fact.
department
Yeah.
head, since they're
Well, and they
one-on-one with that employee.
And then they could approve, get it to the county. But
Right.
in other words, that way.
Chain of command.
There's a little bit of control on who's deciding to go negative.
Yeah, I just don't want to put an employee in a bind just
right.
like I heard, which is good.
And we don't want to put an employee in a
Right.
bind either.
And I think this is the only year that you're going to have a bind. Next year should be okay.
And I think I think I can speak for staff in saying that we don't want to ever have an employee in a bind, lose vacation time, or anything to that effect. We're trying to figure out ways to ensure that they don't lose anything.
Well, and rightly so, because our employees, the city's employees are our most valuable asset we have.
You're exactly right.
Okay, any other discussion?
Do we have any other opinions?
Oh,
You know, it would have been nice if we could have seen this a lot sooner than now. Joe Don asked Monday for the PTO policy to be handed out to the directors, and I don't believe it was. I didn't see it. I went on the agenda and pulled it up to read it. I'm one that's for PTO. Every company I've worked for has always given their people their time ahead of time. They felt like we were adults enough to handle our own time and that they didn't need to micromanage us on our time off. You know, I'm one, my time has been used. I have 0 time right now. But that's because I had a handicapped son who had to have surgery, and I took a week's vacation just so I could spend some time with my family. Coming up, I have a doctor's appointment coming up on the 22nd. I got to go to Amarillo. I don't have any PTO time. Well, I can work extra or take 0, you know, just not get paid for the day. This whole thing about accruing it is, to me, micromanaging us. We are smart. We know how to use our time. I knew this was going to happen, but I didn't have a choice in my situation. Life happens. You know, there are people who got COVID this year, lost 2 weeks of their PTO time. They didn't plan on getting COVID, but they're dealing with it. What we have works. And as far as losing time, why don't we develop a plan where people can put that hours into a bank, where if some major situation happened, like a heart attack, we're not all young, they could pull those hours from that bank and still use them. Why do we have to lose hours? You know, just because you're saying only 80 covers over, okay. Let's say Lavona had 200 hours. She works her tail off every single day. She loses 120 hours? That's wrong. Put it in a bank. Let her decide how those hours get used. If she wants to help a coworker because they're in a bind because, hey, they lost 2 weeks of COVID, and she wants to give them some time, she should be able to do that. It's her time. We have put our blood, sweat, hours in, and we deserve to have our time. And I think accruing it, it just doesn't work. It causes animosity. It makes us feel like you don't trust us, that we can't handle our time. And I have a Christmas plan. I mean, I'm going out of town on, you know, providing Jodon gives me those days off. I probably won't get paid. That's fine. I know the consequences of not having my time. But I also didn't plan on things happening that happened during the year where I had to use my time. Sick children, surgeries. So I really want you guys to think about this because we have a lot of good employees here. And I think the majority of them are not going to be happy with this. They're going to feel like they're micromanaged. And I know my employee, I talk to her all the time about her time. She's in a good spot. She'll roll over, she'll do fine. But she's got a lot of doctor's appointments coming up. And that 40 hours that she's rolling over is going to be gone like that if we go to an accrual deal. Then she's going to be stressing, going, I'm going to cancel appointments. I don't want her canceling appointments because she doesn't have time to cover it. Then she's no good to me. She'll be sick. I would rather see that my employee is going and is in a stress-free situation and getting to her doctor's appointment so that she's here to work and getting the job done that the city needs. So that's my opinion on it. So if you guys would just think about this, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
well, I might add, this was brought to the council from staff.
Right.
It's their recommendations we're looking at. We don't have to act on them tonight if we don't want to. It's whatever you gentleman's
I
choice would
almost
be.
kind of feel like maybe we ought to table it and kind of review it and get some more options written into it so nobody is, like you say, in negative territory or things like that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know at the school, we get PTO at the end of the year. Anything that we didn't use, we get paid for. So we just get an extra bonus on his
So
check.
how much do you owe?
Mr. Petty, in Oklahoma, employers are not required, right, to have vacation paid or unpaid? Is that the law in Oklahoma?
It's an individual employment
Per policy.
situation, yeah, there's not a blanket law. that
There's not a
covers that.
law. Gotcha.
It's both sick and vacation are benefits to employees
Those are benefits.
that employers provide.
I'd kind of like to see a poll of the employees that we have right now to see where they would stand on that.
Shall we table this?
I think so.
Yeah, I think right, being introduced at the end of the year, I think that puts employees in a bind, and, you know, I know this is staff's recommendation, and I think with our situation, I think it'd be a good idea to table it.
I make a motion that we table item number 13, discussion possible action on City of Guymon paid time off policy.
I second that.
Have a motion and a second.
Alvedras,
Aye.
Sanchez. Aye. Swager.
Aye.
Setzer.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 14 is discussion and possible action on a lease agreement with Kids Incorporated for the following ball fields: Parsley Field, Love Field, the girls' t-ball field, and the kids' soccer field.
The reason this came about is when we were looking at leases this year, we found out that Kids Inc. had control over these fields, but it was nowhere in any of their lease documents that they had these fields leased. They've had control of these fields for a number of years, I believe. They've probably been added one at a time and everything, but nowhere was it documented. So we had to go out, and the reason it's at the end of the year is we had to go out and have surveys made of the properties so that we could work that into a agreement, or work that into an agreement. Originally, when I talked to Mr. Petty, we were just going to roll it all into their big lease. But Mr. Petty pointed out that might not be the best option for the city, because that lease is a 99-year lease. The original lease was a 99-year lease, and the council may not want to tie these fields up for that long. So what we did is we pulled our regular leases that we have with our other ball fields, with our other people in town. We mirrored that lease. We added these fields into a new lease that is a 1-year lease with a 1-year renewal option, which everybody is on now. And we're presenting that to you for approval at this time.
Any questions, discussion?
Mayor, you worked on a lot of those.
I built a lot.
I know. What do you think about that?
I think they're worth every penny. The quality is the labor.
How about the lease?
Oh,
Not the credit.
whatever works for us and for Kids Inc.
I make a motion that we move forward on a lease agreement with Kids Inc. on the following ball fields: Parsley, Love Field, girls' t-ball field, and kids' soccer field on 14.
Second that.
Have a motion and a second.
Sanchez. Aye. Swager.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Setzer.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 15 is discussion and possible action on the location of the City of Guymon Advisory Board meetings. Lavona has to turn in a list of all those meetings to the county clerk tomorrow, I believe that's right.
Yes.
So we need to talk about it.
I think all of them are here at City Hall except for the Airport Board and the Tourism Board. And I'd like to kind of move the Tourism Board to City Hall.
There's a tourism board at.
Ambassador?
For some reason, I thought they were here.
No. They meet at the Ambassador. I'd like to have it meet here.
We want to make a motion on that.
Anybody got any discussion on it? We finally got enough room in the building to have them.
Will there be any, like, issues with scheduling, maybe? I would think not, right?
Shouldn't be.
Okay.
We've got other rooms if we have to.
If there's an issue with this room, we've got another room.
Yeah.
Got a whole nother side over there
There's
that's really not in use.
Yeah.
Good.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the schedule of advisory board meetings with the change of having the tourism board meet here in the council chambers,
Or in this building.
or the building, yeah.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Setzer,
Aye.
Sanchez,
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Swager,
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 16 is discussion on a contract with Color Storm Media for marketing as recommended by the Convention and Tourism Board.
I'm going to defer my comments to Mr. Swagger, who is at that meeting.
Yeah. I actually would like to table this so this company can come and give us a presentation, and then we can decide, you know, if this is what we want to do. They do some pamphlets and things like that, but I think we'd be all better off if we had a presentation.
Definitely. Aren't we also hiring a position inside the city, or we're advertising for a position?
For an
that would
event coordinator.
Do
yes.
something similar to this?
No,
no?
no, not necessarily similar to this, no.
Right,
This is
okay.
more production of
Like media,
of
media
material.
production quality, yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Larry, is there a company in town or anybody local, semi-local
That's-
that does
That is,
anything like this?
they
or-
are local.
Okay.
They're the ones that do our website right now, I believe.
Where are they at? They're here in Guymon?
So, I've only met them twice, and I really do not know where they're at.
I mean, nowadays, people.
Well, their invoice is
liberal,
billed at
yeah.
Liberal, so.
Okay,
Local-ish,
yeah.
okay.
So,
You know, with items like this, it's always good to see a couple
yeah,
of presentations.
I agree with that
That's the only
too.
thing I would like to see, just to give everybody a fair chance.
Kick the tires.
Yeah.
So is that the form of motion?
I'll make a motion that we table item number 16 with discussion on a contract with Color Storm Media for marketing as recommended by the convention. and
Well,
tourism.
It's just.
It's just discussion.
Oh, it was?
Well, yeah, it was just a
Oh, that's
discussion
right,
item.
it was just
Mr.
discussion.
Swagger,
Okay.
where there's no need for a motion.
That's good,
I'm wrong the third time.
okay.
Okay, we'll move on then. Unless anybody has any other discussion on 16. Agenda item number 17 is discussion on a City of Guymon authorized vehicle driver policy.
We wanted to have this presented to the city council to get you all to get you thinking about it. Currently, the city of Guymon does not have any kind of policy that says who or what is required to drive our vehicles. And we feel like that's an important thing that we have. So we're presenting we're presenting it here to allow you the opportunity to read it and discuss it for an action item later on.
Thank you. It is needed. We need something like this in place.
The one thing that this does is does specify what an employee has to have. It specifies that we have the right, the city has the right to require driver reports, have the
GPS.
informs the employee that the vehicles will be installed, as GPS system will be installed on the vehicle. And it puts some standards in there such as that. But again, it's just a discussion item here. It's to allow you the opportunity to review it and to maybe vote on it at a future council meeting.
Well, I think we definitely need somebody, or a policy in place where we check driving background
Yeah.
and,
Make sure
Know
all of
where
our
our vehicles
employees are, everybody that's driving a vehicle is licensed. Make sure that they don't have anything that would prevent them from driving a vehicle, such as a suspended license or anything like that. It requires them to have, to notify us if notify the city if there are any major violations they may have had.
or do like a yearly DMV check background?
Yes. Most industries and businesses have a policy very similar to this in place for people that drive vehicles.
Yes.
Just discussion.
Anybody got any
Yeah, this is
discussion?
just discussion.
Anybody got any discussion, or just want to read it and?
Just read it, sir.
I really didn't see any as far as that driver's policy, anything that,
It's pretty standard, protects
Yeah.
the city, protects the employee.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe we didn't have that in place already.
See, I could have driven the skid steer all over the place.
yeah.
You didn't let me.
You never asked. I asked to drive the fire truck, and I've got to do that.
Well, now we can.
No, we can't.
Before this policy goes into
Officially.
place.
I don't want to drive now, I just want to blow the siren.
there you go.
All right. Anybody have anything else on that? We will take it under advisement.
18.
Agenda item number 18 is discussion of the City of Guymon vehicle take-home privilege policy, which I think is on about the same light.
Same thing. We need a policy on take-home vehicles. There's two different things that we're looking at here. One is who is authorized to drive a vehicle, and another is who is authorized to take a vehicle home, and what is the radius that can be. The way the policy is written is that it is the vehicle is approved by the city manager. A take-home vehicle is approved by the city manager annually upon the recommendation of a department head. The department head knows its staff and who needs to have those vehicles for emergency responses. It limits take-home vehicles to within city limits for people that reside within city limits. Now, I will say this does not include marked emergency vehicles such as ambulances, fire trucks, police vehicles. All of those vehicles are take-home vehicles. All of those, the police vehicles primarily are take-home vehicles. They are there for the benefit of the city. They are taken home for the benefit of the city for an employee to respond. That would be the same thing for other take-home vehicles. They're be judged on the benefit for the city. Not everybody would have a take-home vehicle. And certainly a take-home vehicle would not be authorized for employees that live outside the city of Guymon's corporate limits. They're given to the employee as a benefit for the city to allow for responses. A good example would be the take-home vehicle Tracy has. If there's a gas leak somewhere on a weekend, we want Tracy there ASAP. We don't want him to have to go to the shop and pick up a vehicle with his tools so he can go respond to a gas leak. We want him at that gas leak. So it'd be a situation similar to that. Again, it is discussion only at this point. allow you the opportunity to review it, and if you find, and vote on it at a later date.
Good, thank you. Any discussion?
Straightforward.
All right. Being no business, we will stand adjourned. As the Guymon City Council, will reconvene as the Guymon Utilities Authority.